Hello all YouTubers, I'm the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you for tuning back into this winter 2021 forecast number 1 for August 9th, 2020. Before I get on with today's video, however, it would be really awesome if you guys did hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much, by the way, for 900 subscribers. We're almost there. We're less than 100 away from the big ultimate goal of 1,000 subscribers. So please don't forget to hit that subscribe button, as well as ringing the bell notification so you don't miss my next upload. Also, watching the whole video because getting to the goal of 1,000 subscribers and monetization, we're getting very close. And you guys watching the whole video will help the Weather Dude's channel out a lot. So please consider watching the whole video as well. Please do. And also like and share this video with your friends. Thank you. Now let's get on with today's video. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about my first winter forecast for 2020 through 2021. Before I do though, I just want to talk about like the scenarios that we could have and what we usually experience climatologically. Now, what you see here is what we usually have during the winter season when we have a La Nina. So there's two more likely ways that this winter season could go. Either we have a weak La Nina, weak to moderate La Nina, or we have a ENSO-neutral pattern. Okay, and I'm going to be explaining that in this video and then obviously I have my own forecast, so stick for the end of the video for that. So, looking at La Nina here, what you usually see is you got your polar jet, alright, that goes way to the north here, and then you got your Pacific jet, they kind of split off. And you got this high pressure here in the Gulf of Alaska, and you're going to have some colder conditions dropping to the northern tier, eastern Alaska, western Canada here. You're going to see where these jet streams merge, you're going to see some very wet conditions. This is usually what happens during La Nina season in the northwest United States, but because there's really no Pacific jet, now it's more of a polar jet, so that leaves the southern U.S. kind of dry, and whoever is south of the jet stream, the polar jet, we can see some warmer conditions overlapping that same area. And there's also climatologically a little wet, maybe some more wet conditions in the Midwest United States sometimes, but maybe a little bit warmer, but we're going to explain the other scenario as well, which is ENSO-neutral. So let's take a look at that right here. So ENSO-neutral, you got your subtropical jet. Well, you have your polar jet. Again, it comes down like this, but instead of dropping into the northwest United States, it drops into the, the northern plains to the northeast. So those colder conditions get moved a little bit farther to the east. We also have a subtropical jet. That's what's different about a neutral. We have a subtropical jet. Instead of just the Pacific jet here, we have a subtropical jet, which is going to bring some moisture to the southeast, not leave it bone dry. But still, the southern part of the United States could still be warm in an ENSO-neutral pattern. Now, we're going to be taking a look at the climatologically. I kind of gathered some maps here. I kind of made some maps as to like what we can look at climatologically. Now, we're going to be looking at two things here, precipitation and temperature, and then we'll get on with my forecast. So, I gathered some years from a week. This is what would happen in like a week to maybe close to moderate La Nina, but I focused on mainly weak La Nina because it's either a weak La Nina or an ENSO-neutral that will most likely have this winter season. So I took all the years going back all the way through 1950. Okay, I took all the years, as you can see above. These are all the winter years I selected that had a weak La Nina during the winter time. And this is usually, climatologically, this data here is showing how the precipitation, how does that impact the precipitation anomalies? Okay, so as you can see, you have your key at the bottom of your screen. So, to no surprise, the northwestern United States, some above average precipitation, specifically, or especially along the Washington and Oregon coast, where precipitation during, and by the way, this is December through February. Okay, those are the primary winter months. I selected December through February. And for the northwest United States, along the Oregon and Washington coast, it can get 3 to 4 inches of precipitation plus above average. But even outside of that, but remember, this is for an entire winter season, so that's pretty significant. Even outside of that, we can still see some above average precipitation for the Northwest. Also, remember how I showed you that like maybe during the La Nina, the Midwest can be wet too? Some above average precipitation? Well, that's what this shows as well. The Midwest, even actually getting down to the Tennessee Valley, all right, as well as parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, even up the interior Northeast, it can be above average. We can have some above average precipitation. But look at the Southwest. California coastline can be 4+ inches of precipitation below average. But you can see the southern tier here, that South Central, the Southwest, even into the Southeast, maybe even up towards the Mid-Atlantic, maybe some drier conditions. Okay. Now, when we look at a week La Nina, but this time this is how the temperatures look. So how do the temperatures look? Okay, the same exact year, same exact time, okay, same exact set of years, I should say, and same exact time, December through February, week La Nina. How does that climatologically, based on what we've seen in the past, several years, decades, how does that impact our temperatures? Well, especially in the northern tier, this is where you can really see your Arctic blasts. Okay, we're talking about temperatures well down, almost to the max of the graph here, 3, 4 plus degrees, all right, below average. It doesn't sound like much, but it's a lot, all right? Even the western United States, even down to the southwest, it could be a little cooler, but the warm spot is going to be in the southeastern United States. All right, anywhere from Carolinas down through Tennessee, down through then some darker shades, maybe some even warmer conditions for places like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. All right, but the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, even into the northern Mid-Atlantic and the northeast here into New England, we can even see some slightly cooler temperatures during a week La Nina. This is what the climatological historical data shows. Now, we're going to take a look at these same two maps, except this time we're going to flip it over to neutral. So as you can see, still December through February, all right? There's all the years going all the way back to the 60s and beyond. Those are all the neutral years I could pretty much find going back to some decades ago. So December through February, how does ENSO-neutral climatologically, historically, impact our precipitation? And there's no, I mean, I would say there was a correlation, but you can see like parts of maybe the southeast, all right? So anywhere from Louisiana through Georgia, up the Appalachian chain. Maybe some above average precipitation there, but it's not significantly above average. All right. We do, but one area that we do see a correlation, like kind of like a pattern, is the South Central up through Chicago. So anywhere from Texas through Chicago, you can see some below average precipitation typically during an ENSO-neutral. We also see some wetter conditions, or I should say above average precipitation, because this can be in the form of rain or snow. Idaho, Montana, down to the Rockies, Colorado, Wyoming, and then the West Coast. It's pretty much kind of dry because we don't really have that Pacific jet isn't as strong because we have the subtropical jet that comes in and reinforces the moisture for the southeast, but the Pacific jet kind of starts to weaken out during an ENSO-neutral, so the West kind of loses on some precipitation. The reason that this region here is above average is because we can get some clippers that swing through. All right, now. Also, again, parts of the Mid-Atlantic, northern Mid-Atlantic, maybe slightly above average precipitation. But how do our temperatures look during an ENSO-neutral? Okay, climatologically, again, you can see the years haven't changed. Neither has the time frame. Okay, look at the temperatures. The entire country is below average. Okay, to some degree, but especially for the northern tier. All right, so either way, the northern tier looks to be very cold, whether it's an ENSO-neutral, whether we end up having that or a weak La Nina. The northern tier really does emphasize the below average temperatures. All right, some Arctic blasts. All right, but also we do have some we do emphasize the cold as well for interior Northeast, New England, even down to the Mid-Atlantic. The entire country is seeing below average temperatures. Has seen climatologically usually what happens in an ENSO-neutral, except for the southeast. We have some average temperatures, and Florida is ever so slightly above average temperatures during an ENSO-neutral. I think that's because when the jet comes through here like this, Florida is probably farthest south, so they can be a little warmer sometimes. Also, maybe around Death Valley, in the southeastern corner of California, maybe some more average temperatures. But overall, 90%, 95% of the country here in some below average temperatures for an ENSO-neutral. So we're going to be getting into my forecast now. So starting with the precipitation. So this is obviously I didn't write this, but this is number one. Okay, this is definitely most likely. This actually will, all right, change. All right, so subject to change. So I wouldn't take this with a grain of salt because still take this into consideration because it's August. Winter's in a few months. We should definitely start worrying about it. Although, well, not worry about it. We should start preparing for it. Although our primary focus right now is hurricane season. By the way, as my other upload for today, I did do an 18th hurricane season discussion. So if you want to check that out, please do so after this video. So looking at my first winter forecast precipitation-wise, I did emphasize two regions, okay, the Northwest United States, as well as the Great Lakes region, and some moderately above average precipitation. But even outside of that, the northern half of this country, the northern half of the United States, could even see some above average precipitation from Washington, extending southeastward through Kansas to Missouri, back up northeastward, up the eastern seaboard from Virginia on north through Maine. I think we could see some above average precipitation. Now, heading south, I think the southwest, and you got this kind of like this beige color. All right, we can see some below average precipitation from California through Texas, then kind of along the Gulf Coast, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and then extending up through the southeast, inland through the southeast, so Georgia, South Carolina, even down through Florida. You can see some slightly below average precipitation, but again, this could change. I did emphasize maybe some moderately below average precipitation, not slightly, but moderately, for places like Death Valley, Los Angeles, down through Phoenix, Arizona, so South Central Arizona, southwestern New Mexico, and into like El Paso, Texas. You can see maybe I could maybe emphasize some of the more below average precipitation. Now, looking at my temperature forecast here, you can see that as you saw in the climatological data, whether it was a weak La Nina or an ENSO-neutral, either way, the northern tier looked like it was going to be below average temperatures. So that's why I really emphasize it in a third shade of blue, not two. We have a third shade of blue for the Dakotas, particularly pretty much all North Dakota, eastern South Dakota, the entire state of Minnesota, northern Iowa, as well as western Wisconsin. Outside of that, we have our moderately below average temperatures extending down through Chicago, through Detroit, and eastern Montana as well. Eastern Montana down through, say, Des Moines, Chicago, and then just north of Indianapolis here and through Detroit, and also around Marquette, Michigan. And then outside of that, this does extend anywhere from western Montana down through northern Kansas, northern Missouri, then maybe even through the extreme northern mid-Atlantic, and then kind of cuts off here at New York. But I think this also could even extend up to the northeast, but I didn't want to quite extend it there yet because sometimes it can be a little flip-flop pattern for you guys up in New England along the East Coast. And then we have our above average temperatures, which extends from, again, pretty much a similar area, Los Angeles, so maybe like the southern half of California, much of Arizona, of the southern half of New Mexico through Texas, particularly pretty much everywhere in Texas excluding the Panhandle, and then through the southeast, so New Orleans, Biloxi, not Birmingham, but Mobile, Alabama, the entire state of Florida, and southeastern Georgia, in that slightly or slightly above average temperatures, but we're emphasizing that more potentially for the southern half of Texas, as well as the southwestern quarter of New Mexico and southern Arizona, so maybe around Tucson or Yuma. All right, so now we're going to be taking a look at the snowfall anomalies. Now, all right, so I pretty much want to look at, it's pretty much one or the other. So we in the blue we have our, and by the way, northern Maine should be shaded in there. It probably cut it off because the line was here, so it probably cut off the blue area, but northern Maine is included in that blue as well. But anywhere in that blue region, we can see above average snowfall, and in this goldish color, we have our below average snowfall for this winter season. So basically, the blue kind of goes from Washington State, then dipping down through places like Montana, eastern Wyoming, down through much of the northern central United States, through Des Moines, Chicago, Indy, place like Detroit, all right, just north of Cincinnati, Ohio, all right, maybe up through Dayton, then the northern mid-Atlantic, and then up the eastern seaboard. By the way, Long Island should be included as well. We got Long Island included in this, all the way up through the northeast and New England. Now, below average, now you might be thinking, okay, Los Angeles, okay, they really don't get snow anyway, so why are you putting them in below average snowfall? Well, basically, this is reducing Los Angeles' chances of seeing any snowfall because by miracle, it can happen. All right, if it gets really cold and we get some moisture in the air, then it can. But usually Los Angeles does not receive snow, and anywhere, if you guys live anywhere that is shaded in this gold region and you really never get snow, then chances are if you're shading this gold region and you usually don't get snow, then you probably will not get snow if you do very, very little this winter season. But for places in the southeast, like I know South Carolina, especially the mountainous region in the northern part of the state, does get some snow. All right, so you guys could still get some, but I'm saying we could have a reduced amount of snowfall, whether it be significantly or greatly. We don't quite know yet, which is why I kind of have one shade, and we'll add some deeper shades as we evolve our next couple of winter forecasts potentially. But for right now, that's how it stands on our snowfall anomalies. Now here comes, I think the one we've all been waiting for. Drum roll, please. This is my overall forecast for this winter, and here it is. All right, so I know there's a lot. Okay, there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9 different colors on this map. All right, so I'm going to be going through each and every one with you guys. So going from the top to the bottom of the key on the right side of your screen, kind of going from west to east. All right. So starting with the northwestern United States, we have showers and storms, potentially. Again, this is definitely subject to change from the western part of Washington, western even central Oregon, down to extreme northern California, northern Nevada. But the same can be said potentially for eastern Texas, then the Gulf Coast, maybe even out through South Carolina, and maybe through like central and Alabama, central Mississippi, maybe through Baton Rouge, Louisiana, around the Arklatex region, up through the northern edge of the Texas Panhandle. All right, now just because you have above average precipitation doesn't necessarily mean you'll have more snowfall. It can be warm and wet, okay? That can be the case as well, but that's not exactly what I'm saying. Showers and storms will be in place in those light green regions. Warmer and drier, okay? That could be the case from central western Texas up through much of, New Mexico, all of Arizona, southern parts of Utah, much of California, especially this central and southern part, as well as Nevada as well, including Las Vegas and Reno. Maybe some warmer and dry conditions for you guys. All right, mountain snowfall. All right, I mean, any of the mountainous regions here could be seeing some snowfall. This does also include the Sierra Nevada here. All right, but kind of just one region. I emphasize for some mountain snowfall in that light blue region, particularly near like Boise down through Utah. I mean, the Sierra Nevada will still get some snow, okay, but that's kind of like the region I'm emphasizing, so to speak. The Sierra Nevada still does get tons of snowfall. I would love to be there because they do get tons of snowfall each year. So down through Idaho and down, pretty much slipping right down through the middle of Utah, because Utah, we got dark blue on this side and we got orange on this side, so it kind of just squeezes its way right down the middle there. So some light blue for northern Utah, maybe some mountainous snow for you guys, and then cold and snow in that darker blue region through south central Montana, down through central Wyoming, northeastern Utah, much of Colorado, northeastern New Mexico, the Panhandle of Oklahoma, southwestern Kansas, and then in that region there, you can see some cold and snow this winter season. Now I guess you could call it like a hot pink magenta color. That's where we can see some big Arctic blasts, okay, because of that jet stream pattern, and it could even be snowy too. We can get some clippers. We can get some Alberta clippers. There's some stronger clippers that come from Alberta and Canada up here. We can get some bigger snowstorms. But usually we see the really big snowstorms sometimes, most of the time, come up the East Coast because they got that water to really support them. It's moving over water, kind of like how hurricanes work, right? But it's a little different because we're talking about a snowstorm, not a hurricane. But we can still get some strong Alberta clippers that can produce several inches of snow, even feet of snow if the storm's not moving that fast. But particularly, we're going to be focusing on the Arctic blast in that hot pink region. So eastern Montana, all the way down through northern Kansas, northern Missouri, and just west of Chicagoland there. Now, looking at the purple, this is where you would typically find this region. This is the same region that I highlight in like a red shading during the summertime. This is where we can see our severe weather outbreak during the spring and summer. This is the same region that we have our winter battle zone, our wintry mix here, wintry mix in that purple region. North Carolina, down through the northwestern corner of South Carolina, through northern Georgia, northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, up through the Tennessee Valley, St. Louis. Actually, Indianapolis is around the border between dark red and dark purple. Indianapolis, I would actually put you guys in the darker red color. But Peoria, Illinois, down through St. Louis, Kansas City, both Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri, as well as the northern part, including OKC, the northern central part of Oklahoma, and northern Arkansas. You guys can be seeing, all right, some winter battle zone, whether it's a mix between snow and rain. Maybe we have snow first, rain later, or it could be the opposite, or we can have just some ice. Okay, that's all part of the winter battle zone here. Then the dark gray might not come to your attention at first. All right, dark gray also does extend down through Michigan, but I kind of overlap that in another color. But the dark gray region, in this region here, all right, that's where you can see some active Great Lakes, because the Great Lakes, especially, all right, during the early part of the winter, all right, the Great Lakes definitely, we can kind of turn on the conveyor belt, so to speak, and really crank up that snow. Even during the later part, you have to watch the early part and the later part of the winter, because the middle of the winter is when the waters get too cold and we can't really crank out the snow, because when the water's warmer and the cold air flows over it, that's where you get your serious snowfall. But the early and later part of the winter, even early spring, we can see the Great Lakes crank on the conveyor belt and crank up the snow here. So that we'll be watching too. Now the dark red region is where we can see lots of snowstorms on the interior Northeast, as well as parts of the Great Lakes region. And finally, coastal storms down the eastern seaboard. You would typically expect this, but it's possible we can see some coastal storms. Now, whether they produce rain, maybe a mix of rain and snow, maybe some snow. Obviously, more inland track brings the snow inland and rain at the coast, and maybe more offshore track, but not too far offshore, will bring snow to the coastline. So we'll see. But coastal storms is always a threat for the eastern seaboard because they can be kind of unpredictable. So that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, don't forget to check out my second upload for today, my 18th hurricane season discussion. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am the Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time, catch you guys in the next video.